Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and what I'd like to do is to draw on a few things that I've been discussing in the last few days in terms of why I still believe that a no-deal Brexit is the most likely. Now, I'll preface this by saying that I don't believe that a second referendum is impossible or even has a tiny chance. I think it's got a reasonable chance, but I just don't think it's likely. A lot of political commentators seem to be thinking that we've made leaving on March the 29th all but impossible now. I earnestly hope that they are right, and I can certainly see a path to avoiding it, but I do have my major doubts. Now, on the face of it, we have the following situation. Parliament has just voted for Theresa May to request an extension of Article 50. However, they haven't laid any obligations on her, and so she's free to carry out these wishes in her own way. The EU expect a plan. For any extensions to be granted, they expect a plan. Parliament hasn't provided one. May intends to bring her deal back for a third vote by next Wednesday, but it's possible that she won't be allowed to do so. Without something quite remarkable happening at any rate, it just won't pass even if it does come up. That would leave us with 4 parliamentary days left before Brexit with no plan whatsoever. The Kyle Wilson amendment, which I talked about briefly last night, this is being supported by the Labour leadership, or so they say at any rate. I say many things these days that they support. And it calls for Labour to support May's deal, provided that it's written in law and that the decision on what we do next goes to the people in a referendum with leave or remain as options. And then presumably if leave wins, whether people want no deal or May's deal, the details haven't been fleshed out. Now, this sounds surely like it would go through. May gets her deal, she'll be happy. Labour get their second referendum, they'd be happy. And although I've not heard what the EU major players think about it specifically, it sounds like it's in line with what they would approve of. All is happy in the land of Brexit. But oh no, what's this? The ERG monster is lurking about. They want a no-deal Brexit. They want it on March the 29th. So what, I hear you cry. With the Kyle Wilson amendment, May doesn't need the ERG's votes. It will pass easily. But the ERG have 2 major trump cards. One to play on May and one on Corbyn. Bearing in mind that every step May has taken has been, as Prime Minister at any rate, to hold her party together by placating the ERG. She hasn't given them everything they've asked for, of course, because it's been illegal to do so, but she hasn't stood up to them or moved us in a direction away from what they want. So she could have gotten an agreement on an amended deal a long time ago if she saw a cross-party support. If she were willing to leave the ERG out in the cold, as she actually once did as Home Secretary, which is why they will never trust her again, she could have done so. She hasn't. And so the ERG, who yesterday threatened to bring down her government in the most public way imaginable, really, they've got that over her. So unless she's willing to risk the party splitting, as well as her government being brought down, then there's every chance that she won't agree to support the amendment. She also could have built a referendum into the original legislation, as many in Parliament wanted to do at the start of the process. She did not. She has resisted any attempts to sharing control over the process, and control's what it's all about. Don't forget that she originally tried to illegally deny Parliament a vote on her deal. Never mind the people. We had to take the government to court to ensure that she complied and allowed Parliament at least a final say. Then there's the card they have to play on Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn wants Brexit and he wants a general election. The ERG could give him both. Let's say it's getting close to the relevant votes. Okay, they could, as they've already said, they might go to Corbyn and tell him that they will support him in a vote of no confidence in the government. He will drop his support for the second referendum option, citing the fact that he always said he'd prefer the general election. I mean, that was his point of view. What we want is a general election. If we can't get that, all right, a people's vote. Oh, we can now get a general election. Oh, we don't need the people's vote anymore. That'll be it. We might request an extension for Article 50 to pursue the general election, but there's no guarantee that the EU would accept it, as it doesn't indicate any way forward in the Brexit process. It just means hanging on. He'll promise to negotiate a better deal with the EU, of course, but they've already said they've finished negotiating. If a single EU member concludes that it would just mean more months of uncertainty with no change in direction at the end of it, then that would be the no-deal Brexit prize that the ERG won. So in the final few days of Article 50, the UK may have no functioning government if the vote of no confidence went through. That'd be ideal, wouldn't it? And these are very serious scenarios. The ERG need a no-deal Brexit. Remember that they switched from promising us access to the single market to the day after the referendum result, moving to no, we must not be in the single market. They didn't move slowly to their position due to, say, dissatisfaction with the negotiations. They moved immediately, overnight, from one position to their real position. That was always their plan. But they are not led by idiots. Make no mistake, Jacob Rees-Mogg and his less publicly known associates are very clever people. They know there is no majority in Parliament for what they want, and never would be. If it was always their plan to vote against a deal, and surely it would have been, then they will have long been scheming ways to ensure that Parliament acts against its own interests at the end. These are not the foot soldiers of Brexit like David Davis or Nigel Farage, who believe in mythical trade deals and the power of the spent empire. No, they know exactly what Brexit means and what it brings for the country and its people. They know exactly how things are going to play out. They're used to being the power behind the throne, and they know how to manipulate those in power. And this is why I say that a no-deal Brexit is still a likely outcome, despite what others think. I could be wrong, and hope very much that I am. But I am certain that they have a plan. Our best chance is not that they are stupid incompetent, because they are not. Our best hope is that what they're trying to achieve simply proves impossible. The ERG have a way of influencing both Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn to do what they want. And Parliament as a whole has repeatedly failed to take matters into their own hands. If it's possible for them to win this game, then they do hold some very powerful cards. And that's just in Parliament. It would be foolish to behave as if the future of Brexit has been determined only in Westminster. That is the sort of arrogant thinking that got us into this mess in the first place. The EU Council are reported as having been ready to tell May that they will grant an extension only on condition of another referendum. But has the Council, first of all, really consulted all the other member states on this? I would think so. But if so, and yeah, I imagine they have, then what if a member changes their mind between now and when a formal request comes in? Any one of the other EU member states could put an end to this right now by refusing an extension. You know, they might decide to say, sod it, they're all a load of pricks, let them wallow in it, let them come back in 10 years when they behave themselves. I've had enough of it. Now, not only might one of them wish to do that, but just to make absolutely certain, Aaron Banks is currently lobbying states who might be friendly to that idea. And he's not one of the Brexit morons, like I say, like Farage, Davis or Johnson. Now, in fact, someone tweeted me asking today about, oh, why don't you say something about Nigel Farage is lobbying EU member states about this? That's just a publicity stunt. He has zero influence in Europe. Nobody takes Nigel Farage seriously except Trump supporters and Brexit supporters. Nobody else. He's a complete worm. Nobody has got any time for him. He's not lobbying anything. But Aaron Banks is a clever man. And I have no doubt that he would not be wasting his time if he thought it was a fruitless exercise. So, in my opinion, taking all that into account, how confident are we now that we won't have left without a deal at the end of March? Like I say, I'm not saying we're screwed, or at least not in this sense, but I do believe that things are fairly finely balanced. And if they are unbalanced, actually still in favour of no deal. It is, after all, the default position. And if Parliament doesn't get behind something, that is the position. I'd rather other interested parties were a bit more wary about the wider picture instead of just focusing on Westminster and the EU Council as well. So that is why I am still concerned about a no-deal Brexit. That's why I still rate it as the highest chance out of all possible outcomes, even though there are other plausible outcomes. So let me know what you think, of course, as always. And if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for further content. Check out the poll for tomorrow's video, today, which is on by clicking the channel link and then clicking on the community tab. And until next time, I'll see you later.